Hi! This instructional video is about adding and subtracting fractions. Adding and subtracting fractions. Here's 3 problems, and I'll do the first one. As we know from our past, when you're about to add or subtract a fraction, you have to make sure that they have a same denominator, a common denominator. In this case, we have a denominator 8 and 4. What is the least common denominator? What is the number where the factor of 8 can divide into evenly and 4 as well? Common denominator is 8. So we want it to become 8. So since this is already 8, the 3b on top comes over here. Now how does 4 become an 8? Well, you have to multiply 2 to it. 4 times 2 is 8. But whatever you do downstairs on the fraction, you have to do it on top as well. And what's 3b times 2? Well, that's like saying take 3b and then add it twice. 3b plus 3b. 3 bananas plus another 3 bananas gives you a total of 6 bananas. So we have 6b over here. Now they have a same denominator, so now we can go ahead and evaluate the numerator. We could combine them. We could add them. And so we got 3b plus 6b, that becomes 9b over the common denominator 8. Yeah, it's just like when what you learned back in elementary school, with a slight twist of a variable. Now why don't you try numbers 2 and 3? Okay, so in this case, we have a denominator of 5 and 3. And the least common denominator is going to be the multiple of the 2. So 5 times 3 is going to be 15. So we want the denominators to be 15 for both fractions. And what we're going to do is subtract, take the difference of it. So how does the 5 become a 15? Well, you have to multiply it by 3. And whatever you multiply downstairs of the fraction, like I said before, multiply to the top. And 3 times 2x, that's like saying 2x plus 2x plus 2x. Multiply it or add it 3 times. So that becomes 6x. And how does 3 become a 15? Well, you have to multiply the 5. And whatever you multiply downstairs, multiply it upstairs. So 5 times x is 5x. Now that we have a same denominator, we could go ahead and combine the numerators. In this case, we have 6x minus 5x, which is 1x, or simply x over 15. And how about over here on number 3? Here on number 3, let's go ahead and simplify this negative and negative signs. As we know, when you have a multiple of negative and negative, they become positive. The little trick that I tell my students is, oh look, a stick. Pick that stick up, put it on top here, and it becomes...
Attention all teachers, please ensure your attendance has posted. Attention all teachers, please make sure your attendance has posted.
It becomes plus 3x over 2. Now let's go ahead and make this into a common denominator. The least common denominator between 4 and 2, you probably guessed, is going to be 4. Oops. So we want this to be a 4. And we want this fraction to have a common denominator of 4 as well. And whatever we get, we're going to add them together. So since this 4 is already a 4, we don't have to multiply anything to an x besides the invisible factor of 1. So it's just x. But how does this 2 become a 4? Well, you have to multiply the 2. And whatever you multiply downstairs, multiply it upstairs. And 3 times 2x, or 3x times 2 is 6x. And now that we have a same denominator, we can go and combine the numerator. 1x plus 6x gives you 7x over 4. And that is a simplified form. And in algebra, you want to go ahead and leave your fraction as an improper fraction, as long as it's simplified. Okay then, let's take some variations on what we just talked about. Why don't you try numbers 4, 5, and 6? Alright, number 4, hey look, they already have a same denominator. So we don't have to worry about finding the common denominator. It is 25. So we could go ahead and add the numerators. And 19 plus 24, well, that's going to give me, let's see, 9 plus 4 is 13. 1 carries over and add it to the 2. It's going to be 4 over 25. Can I simplify this any further? Well, I don't want to make it into a mixed number, so I guess we'll leave it that way. That's my final answer. And number 5, we have mixed fractions, so let's make this into an improper. So the way we do it is 2 times 3 is 6, and 6 plus the numerator is going to be 8. And keep that denominator 3, so it's 8 over 3. Minus the 11 over 12. And the common denominator between 3 and 12, it is 12. So we want both fractions to have 12, and whatever we get, we're going to take the difference of it. How does 3 become a 12? You have to multiply a 4. And whatever you multiplied up downstairs, you do it upstairs. So 4 times 8 is 32. Since this 12 is already 12 down here, we don't have to do anything. So it's just 11. And now that they have a same denominator, we could take the difference of the numerator. 32 minus 11 is 21. Now, look at this. 21 and 12. Don't they share a common factor, a number that is divisible? Yeah, we could reduce this by 3. So we could reduce to say 3 times 7 is 21, and 3 times 4 is 12. So that's the reduced form. All right, now the last one. Do they have a same denominator? No, no, no. And what is the least common denominator that 10 can factor into or 4 can factor into? Don't say 40, because 10 goes into 20 and 4 goes into 20 as well. And let's go and take those signs and put it right next to it. Now, how does 4 become a 20? You have to multiply a 5. And whatever you multiply downstairs, multiply it upstairs. So 5 times 2x is 10x. How does 10 become a 20? Multiply a 2. Whatever you multiply downstairs, you multiply it upstairs. So 4x times 2 is 8x. Now check this out. Just like talking about money in the bank. You owe the bank 10 mullahs. You owe the bank 10 mullahs. And you take out 8 more mullahs. How much mullahs do you owe the bank? 10x and 8x is 18x. And that's what you're going to owe the bank. You're not quite done yet. It looks ugly, but there is a common factor between 18 and 20 that is shared. They're both divisible by 2. 2 times 9x is 18x. 2 times 10 is 20. And that becomes the final answer. I hope I didn't confuse you. Good luck on your test.